Good evening, everybody. Noswaith da. Welcome to Snowdonia on a beautiful, calm, peaceful evening. Andrew and I are very delighted to be here as your hosts for this evening's Friday Live, where we are going to be sharing a beautiful world healing meditation. So my screen in front of me has all your comments on it. So it's lovely to see you all joining us. So welcome to the Australians, wherever you are. There are some of you from WA and Jane from Young and so many of you there in Canberra. Lovely to welcome you. Thank you for getting up so early to join us. Thank you to the Germans, all the Europeans for coming here. Those of you in New Zealand, Pauline, welcome. I know you're there in New Zealand, not a bad place to be in lockdown, I have to say. And all you beautiful British friends, Canadian friends, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's so precious to connect like this, even though we're in our own homes, in our own spaces, to be able to reach out to this global community of Drew. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. And just a little reminder, please just switch off anything that might distract you tonight. That may be your children or your husband possibly, and maybe your wife. But if you can go to a quiet place, we will be doing some beautiful meditation, so you might want a quiet environment to work from. I suggest you have a cup of tea, a pen and paper, because you might want to write down the techniques when we've finished. So welcome from me, and welcome from Andrew.
And indeed, welcome from me. And it's such a great pleasure, and I think a privilege, to be with you all tonight. It's tonight here. If you're on the other side of the world in Australia, 10 hours ahead of us, we're never going to catch up, so you're always going to be in front. It's a beautiful sunny morning, I bet, for you. And I hope for all of us we can take this moment, this evening, to pause and give ourselves the chance to simply be. And not only to simply be, but to discover that our act of simply being is something of unparalleled power for helping our community and our world. So I'm hoping that you're ready for a really amazing surf through the sea of consciousness to see what we can do to make a difference for our planet together. So as Jane said, do make sure you've got a clear space and that you're going to be able, when we come to it, not yet, but when we come to it, to be able to sit with your spine nice and upright and your probably with a cushion or something rolled up to rock the top of your pelvis forward a little bit, like that. I've got a handy microphone receiver just doing the job for me. To make sure that you'll be able to sit comfortably and in a way that your spine will be elevated and able to uplift by itself. It's such an important key to meditation. Without that, it's quite likely that you may end up with the nodding meditation, which is not really so useful for making a difference in the world. So, are we all okay with being comfortable and getting ready? Because tonight is a special, special moment in our Drew history, and perhaps in your history, and perhaps even in the history of the world. And I hope that as you sit here, as a starting point, you might like to reach out with your awareness and send a wave of gratitude and goodwill to the other 200 or 300 or 400 people who are going to be joining us tonight. And so you're sitting in your place. You're probably inside, because we all are doing that. 1/3 of the world's population is sitting inside at this moment. And what does that mean for us all? I mean, what does that mean? That means that we have no other agenda than to learn to find a whole new way of transcending our normal everyday attempts to find happiness and turning our inner yearnings for real happiness into something that creates delight, that creates wonder and magical moments in the experience of the people around us. So it's a historic experience for the whole world. We've never had to do that before. And some of us are in situations at the moment where people that we dearly love are really suffering. They are paying a high price for what humanity is experiencing at the moment. Some of us are yearning for them to find a way beyond their suffering. Some of us are yearning for them to find healing and freedom. Some of us are simply yearning that the whole of humanity finds healing and freedom. And we've got the opportunity to do that. There is a whole bunch of science which shows how people can be happy. And as Drew practitioners, we're probably well aware that actually the things society tells us that make us happy, such as the new clothing, the shopping spree, the new car, the better house, the better job, the better grades, statistically have been conclusively shown to not generate happiness. I hope I'm clear. Instead, what brings happiness is a set of very simple things, which again, the science shows is statistically incontrovertible. And so, are you ready? You might want to have your pen and paper for this. The first one, being mindful, being present, not being lost in the past or the future. 5 minutes of meditation and a simple, curious delight in observing yourself. 5 minutes of meditation like that can make an amazing difference. And what we're going to do tonight is way beyond that. And another one that's very important is building friendship, building experience, building connection with the people around you. And these days in our world of online, we've got a very wonderful opportunity to create video connections between us all. And as you'll see, Jane is there. She can't quite do a video connection with all 300 or whatever it is of you. How many at the moment?
297.
Yeah, see, helps. That's for a good guess. And so we're all here together. And she's there, ready to respond to some of your questions, as are Avi, who's over in another room doing some isolation, as well as Christiana, who's here with us, and Anushka, who's also taking a little bit of time in her own space, Russell, who's upstairs. Together, as we said earlier in the week, we are the stream team, the dream team, or Drew's dream stream team. And they're a fabulous group of people who have made it their life's dedication to help us all discover our strength. Connectedness, very important. The science shows it's so important. Another one the science shows is fantastic is gratitude. Simple, simple gratitude. The best attitude. You know how they say. And it's just an amazing thing. If you take a few minutes to just remember the things that are going well in your life, whatever they might be, and that might be whoever you are, my next breath. That might be very poignant for some. It might be deeply poignant for some. It might be incredible for us all. What a gift. We are the crowning pinnacle of evolution, the most complex organism that we know of in this universe. And here we have an amazing opportunity to awaken ourselves. Because there is a fourth key that science shows, that humanity shows, and that our deep wisdom across the history of humanity shows, that really makes a difference. And that is our overall connectedness to each other and to the whole field, the whole sea of consciousness. Who am I? That is the great question. And you are sitting here with such care and with such love because I know you have asked that question. And you have begun to find an answer. And that answer, I'm sure, is, who am I? I am someone who's here to add to this world. I am someone who's here to give help and assistance to the people around me. I am someone who's here to help others transcend their ups and downs, to leave behind the sadness, the difficulties, the fears, the irritations of life and make magical moments happen with the people around them. So our meditation today is designed to help you choose to live in a universe in which everyone on this planet is discovering their greatness, their original ability to be stupendously human. So, shall we begin? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is everybody in there ready?
Oh, they look really ready. And they're still
in
joining.
there means the whole world. It's amazing how a little screen can be a window to all our hearts.
Yeah.
It's really so special. So, before we meditate, let's be clear. It's very difficult if you haven't prepared your body and taken a little time to kind of park the body and so that it's happy and able to be there, leaving you free to focus on what's really important. So let's do a little bit of breathing, a little bit of stretching, and remember, whatever I do, please modify to suit your own personal needs. So I think the first thing to do is to just be aware of your hands, give them a really good rub together, and enjoy the feeling of your palms rubbing against each other. And give a very gentle cupping motion of the hands, a clapping motion. The Oriental and the yoga traditions talk about a direct connection between the palm and some of the fingertips to our hearts. And so here you are.
One of my favourite movements, this. Go on, everybody, clap them.
Oh, Jane Clapham, in case you didn't know. There's nothing common about our uncommon Clapham here. See what happens when you do jokes off the cuff. Outrageous.
Good thing we're all friends together, isn't it?
Now put your hands together. And allow a warmth and stillness to encase your hands. Beautiful. Interlock the fingers and then stretch them out in front of you. And then let's prepare the breathing muscles. Let's lift up tall and take a few gently but deep breaths. And try and make it so that your spine lifts from the base all the way up to the top on each in-breath. All the way from base up to top. Beautiful. And then try and lift your palms towards the satellites in the sky. And you might even find that they draw an arc across the sky with one satellite or another, drawing them across. Tall and strong. That's beautiful. And if you're outside and you catch something in your hands from a passing bird, fantastic. It's one of the greatest signs of good luck you could ever have, especially if it's on your hands rather than your head. So inside we don't have any such problems, and so make sure that you are able to bend slightly to one side, opening up the intercostal muscles on that side, and then upwards from the base of the spine, lifting, and over to the other side. And in-breath as you come up, tall and strong, and out-breath as you sink slightly to the side. We're opening up the muscles on the sides of the body, which really control whether or not our breath is free. And at this time of night, on a Friday night, I mean, who would have thought we'd all be meditating on a Friday night? Beautiful, beautiful. Open your arms out to the side, wide, and make it so you can see your fingers in peripheral vision so that there's no block in the joints of your arms. And then turn the palms upwards and then downwards. Breathing in as you open up and breathing out as you fold down. And try and get a real rotation going in your shoulder joints. It's a very helpful way for releasing the upper chest and upper shoulder muscles, which also can really constrict our breathing. And you might try one side and then the other. And as you can see, Jane and I are nicely social distant. And push the palms out. Try and reach each horizon with the palms. Fantastic. And then draw in. And then again, reach out to each horizon, softening the neck as you do so. Brilliant. Arms back into the shoulders and lift the elbows up. A movement that's very helpful for the trapezius muscles and others at the top of the spine. Opening, lifting up slightly with the spine, curling forward a little bit. Good. Great. Then we're going to start taking our awareness down the spine. So from neck, let's do this one more time. Pause, allow your arms to come loose, And then bring them up, clasp fingers, draw them in towards the heart, and on an out breath, push out from the heart. In, breathing in, and breathing out, softening out. And take your awareness down to the heart. So awareness is moving down the spine from neck to heart. Excellent. Breathing in, breathing out. So what we're doing is preparing this body to be a seat of meditation, a seat of focus for empowering our world. Beautiful. And I'd like to invite you now to hinge from the hips and extend the spine as you breathe forward. Breathing out, allowing the spine to rise slightly. Breathing out, hinging from the hips and reaching forward. Make sure that you don't bend your neck too much as you're reaching forward. In fact, if you want, reach forward from the crown of your head and then back up to a sitting position. And as you do this, lower and lower, and spine and crown move towards the horizon, and then you come up. As you bend forward further and further, you'll find your awareness traveling lower and lower down the spine, activating it. In many traditions, they talk about how the spine is like a filing cabinet of your old emotional history. And as you lengthen it like this, you have the opportunity to create a freedom pathway for those old emotional buttons and patterns. And they gently, gently become freer and clearer. Doing this until you're all the way down to the base of the spine. 1.5 more times. There we go, 1, and the last time. Good. Come up, let your hands rest in your lap in whatever way is comfortable, and find a sitting position which is good for you. Pelvis neutral, spine tall. Lift up out of it. And when you're ready, close your eyes, take your awareness down to the base of the spine, and pause. Pause in stillness there at the base of your spine. And you might even like to imagine that the gentle presence of the nurturing field of consciousness, which is our earth, is there upholding you from beneath. And there's a stillness at the base of your spine. You might like to visualize one of the great archetypal certainties of the yogic background, that you're sitting on a yellow square, still and substantial. A golden square, a red square, whatever is a color that you feel good with. And feel that it is holding your awareness quiet and at peace. Remembering that you were born on this planet for a purpose. You are upheld by life, by this earth itself, for a purpose. And one of those purposes is to be here now, to be here today. You are a child of this universe, no less than the trees and the stars. In fact, potentially so much more. Be here now. And gently allow your awareness to rise up towards the heart. Be aware of your breath flowing in and out, nourishing the heart center with each breath. Our meditation today is going to focus on the great centers of awareness from the yogic background, which form a map of the field of our consciousness and which are placed over the spine as one of the genius discoveries of humanity. That if you change the appropriate regions of the spine, so you change the great centers of our consciousness, as you will see as we do our meditation. Lift your awareness from heart up, up. Beyond the crown of your head and up, as if above you is a radiant field of the infinite expanse of all that is great and good in life. Some might call it the divine, others the quantum field, others still the light of who we are. Some might call it the presence of your own great self. And I'd like to invite you to imagine as you sit here that you can be aware of every single person on this planet, each with the radiance of their own great self, the radiance of the infinite connectedness of life and consciousness above them. And very gently, for every single person on this planet, the light of wisdom begins to descend into the crown of the head. And you choose to live in a universe in which every single person on this beautiful earth begins to awaken to their inner voice. Feel a wave of relief around this planet as contact is made, as each of us begins to taste our real strength, our real connectedness. Let that gentle stream of brilliance travel down from the crown of every person's head to the center of the mind, the center of consciousness, there in the middle of the head. And choose to live in a world in which every person on this planet awakens to their inner wisdom. Witness the smiles on their faces, the delight, just gently touching the corners of their mouth as wisdom awakens in every human being on this planet. And the light of our infinite consciousness travels further down to the throat center, center of communication, center of the part of us that knows the right thing to do in the right way with the right people. Be delighted by the experience of witnessing every person on this planet knowing the right words to say, knowing the right action to take and choosing to do so. Center in the throat, the part of our mind that knows the right actions to take and chooses to do so. Let this stream of brilliant connectedness travel down into the heart center. And know that every single person on this planet is awakening to the power of giving, the power of love, awakening to their real self. See smiles broadly upon every human being's face, all 7.5 billion of us, as we realize the magical, enormous power that comes from choosing to give to the world. Let this awareness of brilliance travel from the heart still lower down the spine into the third center, the solar center, the the part of our mind that governs our will, our ability to create and to do, our ability to have the vitality to follow through and complete. And see us all taking the actions necessary to build moments of magic, of wonder in the lives of the people around us. Let this transcendent energy of awareful consciousness travel down into second center, there in the pelvic area, mapped towards the part of our mind, or gateway to the part of our mind that knows about relating, that knows about freedom and completeness, that knows about building friendship and warmly feeling connected to all. See every human being in this world deeply experiencing a renewed love and connectedness to the people around them. A renewed ability to connect and build resonance that makes a difference for people. Take your awareness down still further to the very base of the spine, which corresponds to the gateway into our consciousness that knows about being alive, that knows about infinite life force. The part of our consciousness that is aware of the vast pool of life force that surrounds our planet. That is the force that makes the mighty trees, the great forests. If you stood by a mighty waterfall and felt an enormous amount of strength and power, it's that life force. There it is, available to you in the base of your spine. And with it comes courage. And see every human being on this planet renewed, awake, alive, ready to make a magnificent difference in their world, and thus in the world we all share. $7.5 billion people, each of them discovering a newfound transcendence, a newfound presence of being awake and alive, of caring for the world around them. And at this moment there are 400 of us, like golden points in the web of consciousness. We are all around the world. We are making a difference. Reach out in your awareness to each one of those 400 points. Mighty crucibles of love and kindness who are helping this whole world reach a new level of awareness. And send a wave of supportive love to each of those people. And as you do so, feel a wave of supportive love enfold the whole of humanity. Beautiful. Well done. Allow yourself to be aware of your own body, Allow yourself to be aware of your own strength and who you really are. Let your body feel alive and brilliant. Let every part of your awareness be awake. Perhaps you might even like to feel that you personally are being enfolded by a very living presence of consciousness. Somehow that the field of consciousness cares for you and is just quietly supporting you. Like an everlasting presence. Soothing, nourishing, uplifting you. You might like to complete by taking your awareness to your breath, feeling it rise and fall. Lift your hands so that the palms can touch each other. And as they make contact, feel what a miracle it is to experience the touch of your palms. Move them in a way that warms them and is kind to your palms, kind to your hands, kind to your body. Kindness starts right here, right now. Activate the palms by rubbing the hands quite thoroughly. And then gently lift them up to your heart, up to your eyes. Because your palms are like creating a direct link between your heart, your eyes, and the deepest parts of your mind. Open your eyes into the warm darkness of your palms. Let them be soothed and find stillness. And then gently give your forehead a massage, your eyebrows. Remove some of those de-stress lines. And gaze around the room in which you are with a smile. Have some gratitude for the things in the room, around the room in which you are. Send some love to them. And let also your awareness be present to the countless other human beings on this planet who are giving with love and care. This healing meditation is a meditation that some of the more advanced students in the Drew team have been using, along with some extra supercharged prayers that go with each point. And they have witnessed transformations in each other, even in the headlines of the newspapers. Who can say whether that's the result of prayer? Our universe is not really set up to tell you exactly that a prayer has happened and worked. But every now and then, we get glimpses of its power. And that's a precious, precious thing. Pause and just be. And remember that you've come here on this planet for a very important purpose. Wherever you are in your life, you are on the way to fulfilling that purpose. And when you add a dedication like this to the field of humanity, the sea of consciousness we all swim within, you are making a really, really big difference. So we hope that this world healing meditation will be something that you might do each day. Imagine if enough people around this planet are actually able to visualize the whole of humanity uplifting, changing, learning the lesson that the time that we live in is imposing upon us. There is a lesson to be learned. And as far as I can tell, for each one of us, that lesson is very simple. It's each moment to be more aware, to step out of the ups and downs of life, even a tiny amount, and to love the person in front of us a bit more. What could be more potent in helping humanity do that than shutting us all inside for months at a time? As we speak, a third of humanity is asked to stay indoors with their family. Wow, what an opportunity for us as a species. What an opportunity for this beautiful creation that we live within. Let us make the most of that opportunity. Let us create something really incredible with our lives.
It's so beautiful to feel that connection. Andrew, as you spoke, I could feel that my heart was like opening like a flower, just like so powerfully. I could feel my heart beating so strongly. And I think for me, it's because I'm so aware of us all being together. And, you know, seeing your comments on there, Sally Ann said, so amazing, Andrew, and so lovely to dip back into Drew teachings and your soothing voice. I don't want it to end. It's so beautiful. So many of you are commenting. And I think what you've just done for us tonight, Andrew, is just remind us really who we are, why we're here. And I think that's the aim of why we're coming together, you know, together at home. It's about remembering the keys to being in our strength and power so that we can serve the world, so we can make a difference, so that we can be the change that we want to see from our power. So we've been thinking, meditating, pondering on how to really offer you what can support you most at this time. We've been listening to you, we've been really feeling into what the highest can be at this time. And we've developed 3 keys that we think are really, really crucial. And the first one is the power of a daily practice. And I think we've probably all experienced at this time, and I know sharing our daily Instagrams and Facebooks, we've discussed together over the last couple of weeks, if you don't do your own yoga and meditation, you can feel that you can get a bit more influenced by the challenges around you. So the importance of coming back to a daily practice, I think Louise said it one of the first days, do your meditation every single day. It's non-negotiable at this time. Your family needs it, your neighbours need it, and the world definitely needs it. So I think this meditation that you've just shared, Andrew, really gives us all a powerful way of coming together. So I know a lot of you have been connecting through social media and through the different classes we've been offering, but doing that practice, being reminded to do our practice, is one of the major keys that we felt can help us at this time.
And what can we say about personal practice? It's like it's the essence of whether or not we stay stable. And I find that when you've really got it together, there's something in you that is just very happy and able to be strong. And then when you lose it, as Jane says, it's just not such a pretty picture. I remember one very, very busy woman that I stayed with many years ago, and she was describing how she always gets up and does her meditation before appearing at the breakfast table. And we said to her, but how do you get on with your family? Don't they kind of want you around? And And she said, oh no, quite on the contrary. They'll look at me, if I haven't done my meditation by the time I appear at the breakfast table, they'll say, Mum, have you done your meditation yet? And if I haven't, it's totally obvious to them. They'll say, would you mind going back and doing it? You're just so much nicer to us when you have. So it's a really crucial thing. But the thing is, it's not going to be enough to just do 10 minutes of meditation a day. I don't think. It's not enough for me. To be strong. So an intrinsic part of this first key is learning and being supported to have a practice that really does work for you. So that's of course why we put on everything we put on. It's to help, because what we've discovered across the years is that your personal practice is not something that grows by itself. Like any good plant in the garden, it requires nourishment, tending, and cultivation, and time. And so our upcoming events are designed to give you a better set of steps towards that. Jane will tell you a bit more about them in a minute. And then the other thing one of the other things that makes a really big difference is our second key, and that's the feeling that you've got a community all being together while exploring your practice. So last weekend I taught the first weekend of our advanced practitioner course to a fabulous group of yoga teachers, and whoa, was that an inspired group and inspiring to me. And I watched them elevate through the weekend as they explored the science of yoga in a whole new way. And now they're a community. They've got a WhatsApp group between them, and they're practicing together and exploring the discoveries they've made. And suddenly they're alive together. Together at home, but together in the home that really matters. So community is a very important thing. And when we do a retreat together, like Jane and Petra are offering a day-long workshop on the power of sound and kirtan for you at home. And so they're inviting you to free your voice, to open and discover who you are through the power of if they really get to it, if you're really good, they'll take you towards, maybe even to, the anahata, the power of the unstruck sound. And if any of you are actually sitting there in your room, having heard the sound of the anahata, the unstruck sound, the sound that comes by itself from the center of creation, if any of you have ever heard that, you'll be quivering with delight and warmth at this very moment from the memory of it. And that's what they aim to help you discover. For the audio people, go there. And there's a community of people waiting to be built from that workshop.
And then the third step, which we found really helps us move forward, is to be in the presence of people who remind us who we are, to focus on developing wisdom in our lives from our own inner guidance, but particularly from people around us who serve as those reminders. And there's something quite amazing about being in the presence of somebody who has an amazingly powerful practice. And I don't know how many of you were on Instagram yesterday with Rita Goswami, and she's somebody, for me, who embodies the wisdom of generations of teachers. You know, she comes from a family of spiritual seekers, and you feel it when she speaks and when she sings. Maybe some of you know Rita Goswami. If you do a thumbs up in the chat box. I know you Australians and New Zealand people and the Scots and the Londoners. And Rita was one of my first meditation teachers when I was 15 years old. I mean, she is the most amazing person. And she shared yesterday, and you just felt that you were reminded again of your inner power. I felt that anyway. And so next week, we have an opportunity to sit with Rita and absorb her wisdom. And this time of year, we are moving into the time of light. So in many world traditions, as Christians, we may be working towards Easter. As Hindus, we're moving towards Ram Navami, when Ram, the embodiment of light and virtue, was born on the earth. And Rita's going to tell the story in a beautiful, traditional way of Ramnami, the birth of consciousness, of heightened consciousness within us, represented by Ram. And in that way, explaining how yoga philosophy can be applied, these ancient truths, this ancient wisdom can be applied into our own practice and our community. So that is a masterclass I would not miss. You know, I'm seeing comments from those of you in Australia, New Zealand. I don't know when you're next going to see Rita physically. Please make the most of this incredibly powerful woman. We're going to chant, we're going to meditate on the light, we're going to gain knowledge and insights about our true self. So I warmly invite you to join us at that event. We'll tell you more about it in the email that you'll get in a little while.
And then for those of you who are a little bit more yogically oriented, but just want a bit of peace, coming up a little bit after that, oh no, it's next weekend, isn't it? Is Nana teaching restorative yoga as a continuing professional development class for teachers and students of Dru Yoga, and other teachers potentially as well, to discover the subtle possibilities that you can do to make your yoga practice something that's not just transformative, but utterly restorative for you and the people that you are teaching. And if you are a teacher, if you are now repeating what we are doing, teaching online, and I really hope you are, because it is you who is going to make a difference to this world. Countless versions of those of us who feel that we have something to offer to the world, choosing to continue to do that. And even if you don't feel you've got something to offer to the world, continuing to choose to do it. I know plenty of yoga teachers going, how could I possibly teach online? Yet, once you start, even if it's with a group of friends. For instance, my sister, Fiona, bless you if you're watching this, all power to you. She was very worried briefly whether she would have to make a choice between this morning and, or at least for her it's this morning in Australia, and at a party online. It was a Zoom meeting in which everyone was going to wear a wig and a moustache, a fancy dress online party. So fortunately there was no conflict and we were all free to be together in meditating. But yeah, if you can have a wig party online, you can definitely have a yoga class online. And get the recording of us last Monday if you want to know how to do that. And then get in touch with us if you want some further ideas. So restorative yoga, and then the one that we're going to enjoy the most of, or at least personally I'm going to enjoy the most, coming up at the end of May, but if there's enough interest, we may well do some good tasters beforehand, is the spirituality of yoga. So we've got a 3 to 4 day immersive experience on the spirituality of yoga. And in that time, we hope to build a community just like we've done tonight, except multiplied and multiplied and multiplied in its ability to shake the foundations of fear and insecurity and to create a garden on this planet of spiritual connectedness and delight. So if you are interested in that in May, then get in touch. But even more, if you're interested in some tasters before that, some half-day workshops or such like, please let us know, because the end of May is beginning to feel like it's too far in the future for something that we think is desperately needed at the moment. Perhaps you think that too. So please get in touch. We'll send all the necessary links to you in our email that will come straight after this. And will you tell everyone about our Dedications Together board?
Yes, I will. So, doing this earth healing meditation unites us, doesn't it? As people who want to make a difference, who want to transform the world by giving people the tools to transform themselves. And sometimes the power of having collective energy behind your intentions makes a massive difference, doesn't it? So we have a dedication area, a dedication space where together we can put our dedications out for maybe our friends, our families who need healing and hope at this moment. So in the email that will be coming shortly, we will also put a link to that Dedications Together page on our website, where actually we've been putting dedications for the bushfires a few months ago and many other occasions that needed healing. We feel that the world needs so much healing at the moment, and this is a powerful way of bringing us together and dedicating our thoughts and our prayers towards people who need those most.
So if you want to go there now, the link is actually very simple. It's dryoga.com/dedications-together. And the team will put that in the chat so that you can see it, Dedications Together. And please fill it with your prayers for the people that you care about. So we want to thank you all for being here. We want to thank you for giving to this world. We want to thank you for being you and for expressing your potential, for living your potential, because that's so deeply needed. And so I want to leave you with a kind of like a high five. These days when you do a high five, it's not palm to palm, it's palm past palm. And it's a really amazing feeling. The energetics of it are spectacular. So may you find peace, gratitude, love and delight with everybody in your world. So high five to you all.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for being with us. May all beings be at peace. May all beings find the true peace in their own hearts. Good night.